Hey guys and gals, welcome back to Baoshi 1, and for today's Baoshi 1 extra video, I'm back with another top 10 video, or rather, top 6. Listen, I wanted it to be more than 5, but I sat down, and all I could think of was 6. But anyway, you read the title, you know today's video is the top 6 hardest things I've ever experienced in a video game. Now, I think this is obvious, but I should point this out so it doesn't piss somebody off in the comments. This is my opinion. Get over it. Also, I kind of rank this list on how long it took me to beat a particular thing, like a boss or a level. The time that it took me is really added to the difficulty factor, and so that's kind of how I did this list. There's a variety of different things on this list, like levels and bosses and challenges, and some things that you won't see coming from a mile away. But anyway, let's just jump on right into this list. Number 6 is the perfect run from Super Mario Galaxy 2. This is the hardest level I have done in any video game. But it is the thing on this list that took the shortest. Like, it only took me 2 hours, and, well, I used to think that Champions Road from Mario 3D World was the hardest level I did. Recently, I've done it twice in the past month. Yes, it's taken long, but like once you get a really good strat, it becomes an easy level. So I beat the Champions Road up to 6 times, and I've only beat the perfect run once. And I would still say out of the two, the perfect run holds the cake of being the bitch. And one of the reasons that it's so difficult is because you've got one life. One hit, you're dead, you gotta redo it. Now, the first few parts of the level are pretty easy, like the Yoshi part you just saw, this cloud part's pretty easy. Let's see if I can find the parts that I can really think about. So this part's a little bit difficult. You want to try to hold on to a cloud suit. Because you really don't want to fuck up here and get hit with one of those, like, red beam things. And now the part that I probably find the most, well, not the, I don't know, this probably is the most difficult, but I was thinking about the Boomerang Bros section. I'll get to that in a bit. This part is really difficult. I'm not a big fan of the bubble sections, and it's a little bit hard because you really gotta time it right, so you want to get hit. You really... And especially the last part here is a little bit of a bitch because they make you have to overshoot this area right here because they block the easy part with a fucking beam there, so you don't want to fuck up there. Now the part that I was originally thinking about, this part right here is a motherfucking bitch, and it's how the level ends off. They throw Boomerang Bros and Hammer Bros at you, and you've got to kill all of the Boomerang Bros, I believe it is. Yeah, the Boomerang Bros at the end there. And that's a little bit hard because you don't want to fuck up. And the fact that there's shit flying everywhere, you really don't want to fuck up. But they make you have to physically defeat the Boomerang Bros. Like, you can't avoid them. You have to beat them. And that's a little bit of a bitch because I don't want to have to get close to them. But like I said, it only took me about 2 hours to do it. But it is still very difficult, even though, like, when you find, like, a challenge, a strat, and a route that truly works for you, it is still very difficult, and I think if I were to go back to it... I'm gonna have to restart the video. No, fucking ads. Give me a second. Alright, we're back. Sorry about the stupid ad. But anyway, if I were to go back to not Champions Road, the perfect run, I guarantee it would take me a good chunk of while. Probably around 2 hours again. Unlike unlike Champions Road, which I could probably do pretty quickly. Like, the first time I popped it on, in over a few years, I was playing it with a friend, only took us 30 minutes to take it down. That's because, like, I've died so much to Champions Road, the fact that it's not difficult, like, I remember the strat, and I can just get it down. With the perfect run, I have not done enough to have, like, a memorized strat, and even with the strat, it is still pretty difficult, so... Perfect run, number 6 on this list. Now, let's get to number 5. Okay, a lot of you are probably gonna laugh at this, but hear me out. Number 5 on this list is catching a char in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I said at the beginning, I was going to base this list on mostly time, how long it took me to do something in a video game. This fucker took me a long time. Like, around, I don't know, 3 months or so. I don't remember what the time frame on this fish is, but every Animal Crossing player has one fish that they just struggle to get, and this fucker is that fish. It took me like 3 months. And I was worried because, like, when I caught him, I was getting close to the fact when he was going to, like, no longer be able to catch it. I'm going to have to wait a few months to get the fucker. But it took me a while. And there's a lot that comes into catching a fish. Like, he chars exclusively riverbank fish, top riverbank. And so I have to run around, look for, I believe it's like a medium shadow size. Put my rod in there, and then hope to God that I catch it. If it's not there, I'm going to have to keep going back and forth. Or to make it a little bit easier, I have to go get fish bait, but that also takes a while. And I think he's only exclusive in, like, a certain time frame, so it's like I can't just catch him all day. It's a specific time, so just so many different factors add to the difficulty in catching this fucker. And also, he's a rare fish. Yeah. There's so many different things, and this fucker really pisses me off. I remember I was talking to my cousin shortly after I finally caught this bastard. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. It was like the hardest fish I've ever caught in this game. And I was wishing him good luck. And then he brings up his Critterpedia, and he's like, I've already got it. That's a rare fish. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you lucky bastard. You know how long it took me to get that fucker? And you got him without even realizing it was a rare fish? But yeah, this took me a few months. It's not like long periods. Like every day I take like maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to try to, grind and get this fish. Some days I would actually take around an hour because I'd go the fish bait strategy. But a long time went through getting this fish. And yes, I did say a few months, but like it was just like, it's not very difficult. It's mainly luck based, and that's why it's kind of lower on this list. There are a lot more higher things on this list that generally piss me off to the point where I break a controller. But this chart was mainly luck based, and if I were to like make a new island, I might get lucky with this chart. I might catch them instantly, but there'll be another fish out there that'll piss me off. So yeah, that's why char is number 5 on this list. Feel free to laugh at me in the comments, but I'm sure if you're an Animal Crossing player, you have that one fish out there that you hate all the same. Number 4 on this list is the Sephiroth fight from Final Fantasy VII. Before I go on to more on this list, I just want to shout out the channel. I'm using the video from his channel, so check out Lydon, because I'm using gameplay from that channel. So, okay, now back to the list. So there's a lot that goes into the Sephiroth fight. Like the hard part is like not even really the fight; it's getting to this fucker. Because you gotta take down, like, 2 bosses before you even get to this fucker. You gotta take down, I think it's, like, Genova. Like, a version of Genova. And then, like, another version of Sephiroth. I think it's, like, Safer Sephiroth. Before you get to this fucker. And that's just annoying. Like, I would remember, the Safer Sephiroth would give me a challenge. Like, I'd taken a big hit from Genova, and then I'd get to Safer Sephiroth, and I'd die. So for a long time, I didn't even get to this fucker. And when you get to this fucker, he's got a shit ton of HP, and he also has, like, huge amounts of damage he can dish out. Like, he also has that supernova attack that literally, like, I think it pretty much brings all your characters down to 1 HP. I don't know if it can kill or not, but I think it's just bring them all down to 1 HP. It is one of the hardest boss fights I've ever done. Getting to him's a bitch. And you want to save all of your items. And the fact that when you get to this, the main healer on your party has been dead for a while, which is Aerith. Rest in peace. I hate Sephiroth for the sole reason that he killed her. But she was a great healer. I would always have her on the team, and she's been dead for a while before this point, so I don't really have a healer, so I have to use all different healing items. And you really want to get the best equipment before you get to this fucker. And it's just like, it's such a pain in the ass, and the fight itself is so stressful. Like, I'm sitting there during the fight, and I'm shitting my pants in fear, because I'm like, if I die, not only am I going to have to redo 2 more boss fights, but every single thing I did is pointless. So it's just like, it adds so much fear onto it. The fact that this fucker can bring all 3 of your characters down to 1 HP in 1 hit. He hits like a bitch. He has tons of HP. But there's still the fact, and I'm going to keep ranting on this, that you got to take 2 bosses down before you get to this fucker, okay? It's just, there's so much stress into dealing with him, okay? And let's go to the time length factor I was talking about. I think, like, getting to Sephiroth, I always said, was the hardest part. I think it took maybe 2 hours just to get to this fucking phase. But once I got to this phase, it wasn't that bad. I think I died on my first attempt. On my second attempt, I got it. But there's a lot, and like during when you actually get to this fucker, you want to be so careful, and you really want to strategize everything you do. You want to dish out your heart attacks. You want to save your limits to this fucker, and you really want to have all your HP items saved. Where when he dishes out fucking supernova, you don't want to be sitting there shitting your pants, praying to God you don't die. But I'm lucky enough that I did it on my second attempt. But if I ever play Final Fantasy VII again, I'm not looking forward to this. Not at all. Not at all. So it's number 4 on this list. Number 3 on this list is probably another unexpected one that you didn't see coming, and that is the Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location Death minigame. Before I get into this, I'm also going to shout out the uploader of this video that I'm using for footage. It's just Father, which is actually kind of fitting, because I am filming this video on Father's Day. So I guess Happy Father's Day, everybody, and Father, thank you for the footage. Now, let's go into full... Okay, the Sister Location minigame has sort of the similar factor of the Sephiroth fight, and there's a lot that goes into it before you even get to the death minigame. The death minigame, it's right in the title. You gotta die to get the minigame. And it's not even a fact that if you die, you'll get it. It's a rare chance. So you gotta keep dying and pray you get this minigame. And let's say you finally get this minigame, you're not gonna get it on your first attempt. No shit. You have to look up a fucking walkthrough on how to do this. Because the goal is to get every kid a cupcake. And you can't just be like, get a cupcake and give it to a kid. No, there's a specific cupcake. Some cupcakes like shoot a line. Some cupcakes you can only give to one kid at a time. Some cupcakes do like a 3-way scatter shoot like that. And you gotta perfectly give every kid a cupcake in a strat. And then once you do that, you can finally get that fucking ice cream. But you gotta go all the way back to the beginning to give it to a kid. And by the time you do that, the time is very low. Back to the time factor that I say that added to this list. This took me, I'm going to say, probably around 4 hours to do. That's just me sitting, dying, hoping I get this minigame, and then getting to this itself. It is such a pain in the ass, and I can't tell how many times I actually got the ice cream, and then I fucked up on my way back to the very beginning because I ran out of time. And that, let me tell you, that is a soul-crushing thing. When you get that ice cream, and you're so close, and the time limit goes out. You sit there, and it's just like, there's so much built-in rage at that moment, and I'm sitting there, and I'm screaming, fuck, fuck, fuck. Because I was so close. Like, similar to this run, I had like 1 second left. I have a screen recording on my Switch. I'll just quickly pull it up, and we can see how close I got. Okay, so this is the footage of my run, and you can see, right there, I also hit the 1 second mark at the end. So there's so much time goes into this minigame. And it makes it so angry. Because like getting to it's a bitch. And then you have to nail the strategy. And the strategy is so precise. Like there's been so many times when I've fucked up on the cupcakes. Like you have to be standing on a specific block. Like in a specific angle. Like maybe just like the edge of a specific block. And, like, you just saw you have to originally jump over that cupcake. And there were certain points when I'd actually fuck up the jump and get it. And it's just, like, it's so tedious how precise you have to be. And it's so angry when you fuck up and you gotta restart and you gotta keep dying and dying and dying until you get this fucking minigame. And then the time factor at the end is a huge bitch. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know if a minigame could really drive me that nuts, but it did. So bad that's number 3 on this list, and I know it drove other people nuts. Like I think Markiplier had a big problem with it on his run. Like getting to it's a bitch, and this whole minigame's a fucking bitch. Oh god. But yeah, that's number 3 on this list. Number 2 on this list is the fight with Inner Agent 3 from Splatoon 2. Now I talked about this briefly on my, well, not briefly, I think I spent like a good 5 minutes talking about this on my Splatoon 2 game review. The fact that this fight is so agonizing. I think this took me a good 6 hours. So yeah, add an extra 2 hours onto the Sister Location Death minigame. Now this one, like normally in bosses, I'm pretty good at like figuring out a strat and like dealing with it. Like in Kirby and the Forgotten Land, you have to, if you want 100% it, there are some bosses you have to go through without taking a hit. I was pretty good at figuring out the strategy and avoid getting hit. But this one, it's a bitch because, like, you have, like, a very, very low armor. and it's really easy for Inner Agent 3 to shatter your armor, and once your armor is shattered, you're like fucking dead. Like, you're fucking dead. And the fact that this fucker's got like 5 different phases, and like, like, you really need to nail the strategy down. The fact that some phases are like really fucking difficult, like I think this one of the hardest is phase number 3, which is the remote bomb phase, when Inner Agent 3 keeps on throwing like bombs at you, and they lock on you, and you really got to run away. That phase is really difficult, specifically because you want to avoid the bombs, but you also want to get close to Inner Agent 3 so you can deal damage. It is so difficult because the balance between running away and having to get close to get a hit is absolutely a bitch. Let me tell you. It is so agonizing. The fact that I spent 2 hours in this, attempting it, and I got so mad I threw my controller down, and I was thinking of like quitting Splatoon 2. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, when I get pissed off to the point where like I think I might just quit the game. I'm not fucking doing this. And the fact that I love the Octo expansion so much, but this part, it really ruins it, and it tests your commitment, and it tests your ability. And it's one of the hardest things I've ever done in a video game, and it really pisses me off. And I don't think if I were to pop back in Splatoon 2 and play it, I guarantee it would take me like a long ass time to fucking do this. Like, it is not something you do easily, and even with the strat in the memory, it takes a long time. Like, a very long time to perfect. The phases, some of them are fucking annoying. I already mentioned the bomb one, but the one where Inner Agent 3 is on the UFO, and you have to specifically use your bombs to get Inner Agent 3. It's just, there's so much memory and agony and anger. And oh my god, I can't tell you, like, out of everything on this list, the relief I felt when I did this was so high. The relief in the thank God moment was higher on this than even number 1. But this, oh god damn, I'm so happy it's over. Even talking about it stresses me the fuck out. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 1 on this list is the Shadow Queen boss fight from Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Once again, before I get into this entry, just want to shout out to the creator, or the uploader of the video that I am using for footage, which is Bear the Captain. Check the channel out on Bear the Captain. Thank you for the footage. Gotta love YouTube, eh? Okay, but now let's get into the Shadow Queen fight. I mentioned how much I hated the Sephiroth fight. But the Shadow Queen fight adds a whole new level, just like Sephiroth and the Sister Location Death minigame. Getting to the Shadow Queen is a bitch, because you gotta sit through at least, I think it's at least a 2-minute cutscene that you can't skip. So there's every time you fuck up and die, you've gotta rewatch that cutscene. And the thing is, you want to hold on to your items in this final chapter of the game. Hold on to them, because guess what? Once you get to this section, if you need items, you're gonna have to walk all the way out of the door, go to frickin' Rogueport, get your items there, and then go all the way back. Hold on to your fucking items, because you're gonna need them. Now, the first phase of the Shadow Queen is pretty easy. Like, I probably only died a few times. The second phase is a real bitch. Her HP is so high, and once you get her down, she has a chance to absolutely annihilate the whole audience watching the fight, suck their souls, and regain her HP. And the fact that I went into this fight way under-leveled than I should have been, it made it so much more of a bitch. You really want to, like, absolutely hold on to your, like, your special attack points, and I guess I would think the best strat is, I think when I went into it, I used, what's her name? Vivian. I used Vivian, because her arms, you also can attack her arms, and you want to do that, because that's how she sucks up the audience and re-heals, so basically, I used Vivian a lot. Her Fire Scatter attack is very useful, and she also has that useful ability to, like, grab Mario and bring him down so he can avoid any attack, which is very useful. Captain Bombery, this guy right here is also very useful because he has this huge bomb blast attack, but the downside with that is it takes up so much special points. He's like the best attack partner in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, but like Vivian was really good too, and you really want to absolutely like use everything. And the hard part is like when your partners are down HP, you can either heal them or drag in a new partner. And the fact that I wanted to save most of my healing points for Mario, so I ended up switching through my partners a lot. Like, I ended up using Koops at one point with his shield ability. I started off the fight with Goombella, who is probably the worst character to have in this fight. Sorry, Goombella. But the reason I had Goombella was because she had the guide, or her book kind of thing that she uses, and to 100% the game, you need to, like, do a reading or like a manual or everything or for each boss, each villain. So I needed to start off with Goombella so I could get that and Goombella's like log thing. And it's a little bit difficult because that means I'm gonna have to waste a party member's turn switching out Goombella. And did I mention the Shadow Queen hits like a bitch? Because she hits like a bitch. She'll absolutely drain the absolute shit out of her HP. And the fact that, you know, Mario is probably not the best person to have on this fight because he's got his hammer and his boots. And like I said, you want Bomberry or you want Vivian. But Mario, like, you gotta really give him good badges if you want him to land a powerful punch. And it's just like, oh my god. Let's bring back the time limit factor that I used to make this list. 2 weeks. Took me 2 weeks to do this. And now, every day, I would take, like, maybe 2 hours of attempts. And then I would quit. And the fact that a big chunk of those 2 hours were spent sitting through the cutscene waiting to get to the fucking fight. If Nintendo ever remakes this, they need to make skipping that cutscene an option. Because I am not fucking redoing that. It just added so much agony of like, sitting through this cutscene. Getting through the first phase and getting to this fucking phase. And the agony you feel when you get her so close to death and she's like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna re-heal. It's an absolutely moment when you just smash your controller. It took me so long, and I really don't look forward to having to fight her again if I replay Thousand Year Door. So yeah, that's number 1 on this list. Fuck the Shadow Queen. So that is my top 6 hardest things I've had to deal with in video games. It's probably a lot different than yours. You probably didn't expect to see an Animal Crossing fish or a Sister Location death minigame on this list, but yeah. I sat down for a while and I really thought about, like, the hardest things in video games. But the thing is, my list has changed a lot over the years because, like, as a kid, certain things would be harder to me than they are now. Like, I remember, I specifically, like, Champions Road, I already made that example, but I specifically remember, Mario Galaxy 2, the Giga Lakitu fight. I still hate that fucker now, but, like, I can actually pass the fight. As a kid, I never could get past that Giga Lakitu fight, but now I actually can. I still hate him, I still hold a grudge, but I can still physically get past that fight. So yeah, a lot of things have changed, but as of right now, those are the top 6 hardest things I've had to deal with in a video game. I'm sorry it's only like a top 6. I really tried. But those are the things I could think about. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to do something a bit different. Anyway, next week, I'll probably be back to doing another commentary, because I really, really love commentary videos. I really love making them. I really have a blast, and I hope you guys enjoy watching them too. But before I end this video, I just want to shout out everyone who I used footage of today. YouTube is an absolutely amazing thing, how people can share things, and you know, I'm really thankful that they posted gameplay so that I could use that, and it's only fair that you go check out their channels. I'm in the description. I'll shout everybody out who I use footage for. Check them out. They deserve it. They're awesome. They beat fucking the Shadow Queen, the Sister Location death minigame, all the hard things. So you know they're top tier gamers if they're able to do that. So definitely check them out. But anyway, thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And remember, you're all awesome. Bye-bye.